Hello, my friends. Today's topic is a little bit different. It's more about why do we need a checklist and how can we set it up. Why do we need a checklist? Yeah. In the early start, when I was thinking about checklist, it becomes more like a mundane that it's already here that I know 5 steps or every time I need to go somewhere, what I need to do, and then it becomes repetitive. But today I'm going to tell you that it's super important. Um, the reason is because uh, it can be life saving. So, for example, a pilot and a surgeon or someone with a high risk profile, a job that they have to do on a daily basis, they cannot do without a checklist because it's not because it's only policy required or regulatory requirement, but because it's life savings also. And they have to go on a daily basis. I have many friends who are pilots also, and he also told me about he has to do this on a daily. Every time when he's going to fly his airplane as a head pilot, he always need to go through all the checklists and to ensure that it's really checked. So it's not just a read through it. No, it has to be 100% signed off by himself. Yeah. So he told me a few tips about how to do that. So I'm going to tell you guys his take. But I also came to another book that I've read recently, and it's more about the Checklist Manifesto by Dr. Atul Gawande. Sorry if I misspell your name. And he also came to amazingly write this book, so I highly recommend you. I don't get any royalties about it, but it's a very great book, so you can just Google it. So why is it important? Indeed, as I just mentioned, it's life savings, and also as a surgeon, not myself, but I mean a friend of mine also tells me that you definitely need one list, or many lists, but he has one main list that he has to follow, like washing his hands and other stuff. Even though he do it every time with a patient, he has to go through the list so to check off and sign it off. And it's very crucial because, as you know, it the on there is a lot of research done that once you go through checklist, the probability of anything mistakenly go wrong, it will be reduced. So that's why it's better to do a checklist, and it also is very productive. So myself, I give you some examples about how you can do that. There's another great guy, Daniel Borman from Boeing. He also has a checklist generated. It seems simple, but he has a few steps that you can follow. I will put that in the description. That maybe can be helpful to you as well. So one thing is for sure, it has to be short. A checklist, it has to be short and it has to be focused. Short meaning that between less than 10 items on it, and it has to be laser focused about why these items have to be there. Otherwise, it's very risky. Second, it has to be clear and also practical. So the wording that you write down has to be that you understand it, not because you copy and paste it from someone else. And third is also you have to be concise. It has to be fit in either one page or maybe a small note, and it's also for you to easy to read. I give you an example of how I do it in a business site and also in a personal site. So in a business site, no matter where I go, I always, if I do a job, I always try to find out if that previous person who's doing the job has a checklist. And I found out that most of the time they have it here, not written down or anywhere. So I try to pinpoint it down on a piece of paper nowadays, on a computer, Excel, or anything, and then just name the tab checklist. And you just put 10 items or less than 10 items about which steps to follow to make sure that the report or anything that you write is precise or concise. So the most important part in the business also is writing down the top 10 things you want to do in that day. The most important part. Sometimes it's the stuff that you definitely don't want to do, but you have to do it because it might be impacting your business. So the checklist that you have to provide is just see, I this person is the most important I need to meet, and spend the time also to research. So write down those things that you need to do. And on the personal side, yeah, there is a lot of stuff that we forget because we become older, and and also our memory has, becomes a little bit the other side. You know what I mean? You don't remember that much. Even though, like for example, I'll give you a vivid example is if I have to take my kids to swimming classes, and sometimes you forget maybe the hat, maybe you forget even the shampoo, to shower, anything. So you just put a 10 items or anything in a on your phone, a notes, that is always rememberable. I need to bring the towel for sure. Otherwise, that's the most important part, especially in cold weather. Shampoo and the glasses, because most of the time you put the glasses separately. You don't wash it in the washing machine. So those kind of stuff I put in the top, like a top 10 items that I definitely need to bring when I take my kids to the swimming classes. So personally, also for myself, I have a checklist. Most of the time in the beginning, I put it on a my notes. But nowadays, I just put it in the phone because on the notes sometimes you forget to carry on. So then you put it in your phone about when you wake up, what is the top 5 things you will do before you read your emails or listen to the news or anything. But first of all, I will highly recommend you not to listen to the news. As you know, in Dutch we say geen nieuws is good news. That means no news is good news. Because news most of the time are so negative, and you don't want to start your day negative. So don't read newspaper, don't listen to the radio, anything. I know you want to stay updated, unless you're a journalist, that you definitely need to do in the morning. Then you have to. But if most of us are not journalists or anything like that, so news, if you can, just maybe later in the day. Okay. Emails as well, because once you see important emails or urgent, most of the people write those things at the top, and then you read it and say, that wasn't that urgent. Why that person put urgent or important? Yeah, that can be done later in the day. So the top 5 things for me is, for example, exercise. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes exercise quickly, that can wake up the body. Then you have meditation. Always make sure that your mind is sharp. So some people ask me how long meditation? Well, it's not concrete. It depends on your age as well. So people, if you start like a 10-year-old, I will say just age times 1 minute is 10 minutes, and when you're 40, and then it's 40 minutes, etc. So you know what I mean. Or you can do it even longer if it helps you, because the mind has to be clear. So exercise, meditation, and also maybe breakfast if it's important to you. For me, it's not. Sorry, because I don't follow the mindset about the breakfast is to eat like a king, and then lunch you eat like a prince, and then at night dinner you eat like a beggar. Yeah, some people believe it. I don't, because I don't follow those routines. I just eat when I'm hungry, and you know what I mean. So unless it's important, then just eat. The fourth one is reading. So people say reading, even though you read 1 page or 2 page a day, it's phenomenal, because reading and listening to me or other people on YouTube is not going to help that much unless you're very busy doing stuff. Then you listen to these kind of things. But reading is very important. And lastly is also write down your objectives, the goals that you want to achieve. So all in all, the checklist, I'll put it in the description. If you just follow those a few steps, but very importantly to do it on a regular daily basis if possible. Maybe we can take weekends off. But 5 days a week, if you follow that consistently, your checklist, by the way, you can always change it and amend it. It doesn't have to be the same, because sometimes things change in life. So then you can, don't be sticking to that checklist also, and then saying, this has to be done, because otherwise it becomes your own dogma, and be careful of conformity. Okay, so checklist is very important. Try to help me